Here we are back in the shop, and today we have this Sony Vaio laptop. That's right, let's crack it open and see how much gold is inside. All right, so right off the bat, I picked this up out in the wild as is missing pieces and parts and screws and everything. We're just gonna pull it apart because I really don't know what to say about it. Unfortunately, that's just how you find stuff, guys. All right, so we got that aluminum sheet off there. That's right, it's sheet aluminum. And just collect it up, just like your pop cans, it adds up. There's a little piece of plastic that is held on by a couple screws there. And here's a trackpad. Normally it shows gold on a lot of, especially older vintage style trackpads. But hey, I tell you what, we will take a look at that in a little while, because that looks like there's gonna be some nice tactile switches right there. That's right, these guys go click, they have some silver, and sometimes they have some gold in there. That's right, so we'll look at that at the end of the video. This is gonna have some little brass nubbins in there. And in fact, if you take one of the screws and you screw it inside of there and take your pliers, it will pull those brass pieces out. Then you go drop them in your brass tidbit collection, and then there's going to be a little bit of plastic. Unfortunately, that's just how life goes in the scrapping world. What else do we have here? Let's see, this is just held on by a piece of sheet aluminum and a ribbon cable right there. That's right. So we're just gonna go bring the scissors out and whack-a-do that right there. All right, so what's gonna be on that? Normally they have a silver mylar underneath of there. And this guy's gonna be interesting, and the buttons are gonna fly everywhere as soon as you start taking that off. So yeah, as you can see there's gonna be mylar underneath there. We'll get these all peeled off for you guys, and we'll take a look at that at the end of the video. What else? There's still so many activities to be had. I know a lot of people say, hey, things like are not worth taking apart, but I tell you what, there's all sorts of stuff, especially when you get a hold of older material. What else are we gonna have? Well, this guy has a removable floppy. That's a 3.5 floppy drive, and I bet there's going to be some goodies and some gold underneath of there for sure. Absolutely. What else do we have? Well, we got back here usually has the memory. This guy only has one. Sometimes they come with two of them. Either way, there is still going to be some free gold. That's right, this is free gold right there. It's very thin, but hey, I tell you what, when you get the amount I get, it adds up. And those chips right there, those IC style chips, those are going to have a lot of gold inside of them. Just because you don't see it does not mean it does not exist. That's right, it's there. It's in all different forms and shapes. It's there. You just have to look for it. And you can even find it here. That's right. Oh, it's made in Canada. I'm not sure what that's actually going to be, so we're going to peel that material off, and we'll look at that at the end of the video. Again, you're going to see a battery in here, and we're going to get that battery out of here. I don't know if, hey, check it out. There it goes. Okay, you want to get those batteries out for sure, and you put them off to the side and make sure you dispose of them properly, because they can be nasty, especially at your scrapyard. They will not appreciate you throwing them into their garbage. So what else? Well, we have the main battery. There's going to be a main battery for this computer right here. This is going to be a lithium battery. You're not going to want to crush this, so you're not going to want to try to take anything out of it. Personally, I leave them like this, and I recycle them at a local store that will take them. And you just don't want to puncture them or get them wet or anything like that. Absolutely. Use some safety with this, because if you leave these in the corner of your shop, that's right, and if you guys can read any of the warnings on here, and you come back and they have popped, it's going to be a dangerous situation, and your shop is going to be on fire. And then by that point, unfortunately, a lot of other activities are going to be happening that you probably did not want to happen in the first place. Okay, so what else do we have? Well, we're just gonna go on in here, because there's not much we can really do. It's kind of like ripping a band-aid off, so we're just gonna do it. There's screws everywhere, and they're going to be in all different sizes, apparently. I don't know if, like, you know, the people who made one part were having an argument with people who made another part, and they were like, hey, we're just going to mess with them and put 15 different kinds of screws inside of this material. And I guess some of them are just going to strip out, and you know what? There's just going to be not much you can do about it. Make sure you have your safety glasses on while you guys are doing this for sure. Because I tell you what, although I like collecting up free gold, and we find free gold all the time, there ain't enough free gold in this to pay for my emergency room visit. What is this? This is going to be steel. Whether it's stainless steel or not, that feels like a pretty hard stick. But there's going to be some brass hidden right there. That's right, there's still some little brass nubbins right there. So again, if you get this guy, take that screw out of there, and this little brass piece will come off of there, and you throw it in your brass pile. That will, in fact, all add add up. Especially now, you know, people are having issues about being able to turn in their copper and stuff. Well, hey, turn to the other materials you guys are finding in your scrap. You can still turn in your aluminum, and that's a pretty good price. Especially, I just put out a video about extruded aluminum, especially in e-waste. And it's actually worth standing there and doing. And I know you guys are watching me fumble, but hey, my fingers are really cold right now. So we're just going to take care of that at the end. We're just going to take care of that at the end. I can't help it. My fingers don't work. Yeah, so, you know, if you guys are having trouble selling your copper, then you know, go to your aluminum, sell your aluminum, stack your copper, and find out what you have to do in your area to get rid of your copper, because you can still do it. And if it takes a permit, it's a bummer. It takes a permit, and there's not much I can say about that. It's unfortunate, an event that's happening in certain areas, and if it happens in one area, it's going to happen in the other area. Yeah, it's going to be a teeny tiny little hard drive, but there may be some activities and some things to be had inside of here still. It's an older style hard drive. I mean, even though it's still a laptop hard drive, hey, you know, they still put some stuff inside of there. Yes, gold and all sorts of things to be had, and they're pretty neat to find. And you don't come across this stuff all the time. You really don't. In fact, I live in kind of a geographical oddity to where I can still find this material regularly. It's starting to slowly dry up, unfortunately, but what are you going to do? That's kind of what happens. Although, you know, you want to get as much material as you can. The more material you get, the less there is to be had. So that's kind of a catch-22 when it comes to the electronics. And I know people are like, you can sell this, and no, I really can't. And personally, I just don't feel like selling it. I really don't. I'd rather sit here and argue with it until it finally gets off of there. And look at that. So that's going to be a decent little board. There's going to be some gold to be had for sure. So we are definitely going to try to take this guy apart the best we can. And we'll do that at the end of the video. So what else do we got? Well, we still got the disk drive right here. The disk drive's just hanging out, doing its thing. The reason why I'm not using a power drill is because it would just strip the head of the screws out. So yeah, it's a little longer doing it by hand, but it is easier in the long run to just do that. Now here's a little slim disk drive. Again, there's going to be some stuff inside of there. What else do we have? Well, we haven't even got to the motherboard yet. But I know everybody's starting to see it down there, starting to come out, and I'm trying to figure out the best way into it, because here's the heat sink, and that's going to be pretty neat, but I'm not sure. Here, let's see if we take this bracket off. All right, so we got that heat sink loosened up here. Let's see if we can't get it out of here. Normally they're pretty good for copper and everything, but it's hard to say on a laptop. I have no idea. But that's going to be some cast aluminum for sure. Definitely a heat sink. You know, they're going to want it to be aluminum so that then it can disperse the heat. And it's going to have some brass in there. Again, it's going to have a little copper bearing motor right inside of there. And we'll break this down. But for sure, you're not going to want to pass up that brass. You're going to want to take that brass out of there, and it should pop out of here pretty easy. What else do we have? Well, I can see the CPU. I think that's it, and I think it's actually removable, which is kind of interesting. So let me get this board out of here, and we'll check it out together. All right, so we had to give it the what for, but that's right, we got it out. There's going to be some plastic in here, and you're again going to have those little brass nubbins in there. Just take your screws and pull them out. This is going to be plastic, and it's going to go over in our plastic pile. What else do we have? Well, we have the screen. Yeah, this screen, it's not going to have a lot. I'm going to clip this end off because, yes, there's going to be some gold pins hiding inside there. It's not going to be much, but it's going to be there. You're going to have some LEDs inside of here, and yeah, there goes some plastic. But you're going to have some LEDs inside there maybe as well. It looks like there's going to be lit up. Again, I'm just going to leave this exactly the way it is. I have about 100 of them, and when somebody tells me they're going to be worth something, then maybe we'll do something with them. If not, I'll find an appropriate place to recycle them. Okay, so we got the motherboard out here. They are, that's right, like I said, they had just tons of different fasteners and things and such, and some of these are in fact going to be brass, and this guy is not. You'll come across a lot that look like brass, but hey, that ain't brass. It's sticking to the magnet. So what else do we have? Well, we have some sheet aluminum. Again, we're going to put over in that pile. And we're going to take and break down this board and check it out, because yes, there's still that CPU. It looks like it's removable, and it's really interesting. All right, so here we are. We have it all broke down. What do we have? Well, first we have that screen. Yeah, that's right. People swear by the value of them. I'm not going to get rid of them, and we're going to look further into them. We also have a CD. Yeah, you find a lot of CDs and a lot of games and stuff in the drives when you take these things apart. We have that 3.5 floppy. It's going to have a board in there. It's going to have some value to it, but we don't come across those often, so I'm going to leave that one as is for right now. You have the keyboard. Yeah, the keyboard's going to have silver mylar in there. I do believe it's going to be a double layer, and it's going to be harder to get to, but I tell you what, we will enter into that later on the channel. You're going to have some sheet aluminum. Yeah, it's there to be had. Why not take it? It all adds up. You're also going to have some cast aluminum. Well, how can you tell? Because it's a heat sink and it doesn't stick to the magnet. That's cast aluminum is going to be worth more than that sheet aluminum. Make sure you don't mix them up. Bring them in the yard. Find out how much they'll give you for it. The laser reading diode that's inside of the DVD or the CD player, whatever version you have, that's going to have some precious metals actually inside of there. We have plenty of them. We'll enter into that process. What else do we have? We have the hard drive. You don't come across this very often actually, so that's why we have not cracked into it. But yes, that's going to have a few boards inside of it. It's going to have a little precious metal value to it. But I tell you what, those pins are nice, but hey, this is also pretty nice. We will crack into this later on. It's more of a micro scrapping process. Along with these boards, yeah, you're going to see these guys all over the place. They have nice MLCCs on there and some really nice rich gold pins, and they're there and they exist, and they're actually really thick. So we're going to get into those guys later. That's a low grade board that actually had some tactile switches on there. Again, you're going to see some more flat packs, some more MLCCs, and some more goodies to be had. That's right. I don't pass it up. It's there. It exists. You have the trackpad. I'm not sure what's going to be underneath this guy. I want to say it's going to be gold. I know you see copper right there and all other sorts of goodies that will go in your process. What else? I know everybody wants to see the motherboard, but hey, if you just only concentrate on the motherboard, you'd be passing up on some nice MLCCs and all sorts of goodies to be had. And yes, there's going to be gold in these pins. Look at those pins. That is nice, rich gold to be had. You don't see it like that these days. I tell you what, it's really thin flashing nowadays. But what do we have here? We got some more MLCCs, some flat packs, and some goodies to be had. That's right. And if you look on the back, it's more of a micro scrapping process, but hey, it's there and we're not going to get rid of it. And everybody sees these RAM sticks. I know everybody thinks there's a bee's knees, and I tell you what, they pretty much are. Yeah, I know everybody goes for them for the gold recovery. And yeah, you can clip off those little fingers and you could take these IC chips off and put them in your process. Yes, we have plenty of them and we will get to that. Now we got the motherboard. The motherboard gets a little more complicated because there's parts that come off of here. Yes, you got the, I don't know if these were memory sticks that went in there or how that worked, but I tell you what, there is some nice gold fingers to be had. We'll process that and crack these guys out of there. What else? Well, it was hiding some nice big flat packs, and for all you guys that don't know, each one of those legs can represent a gold bond wire that leads to the center of that chip, and that's where your hidden gold is. A lot of people pass it up because they don't see the value in it. And there's going to be gold inside of that connector as well. And I know everybody sees that positive right there. That's right. It has a C next to it. It's a capacitor. It has a positive on it. I'm going to throw it in with my tantalum because I tell you what, even if I can't sell it as tantalum, I'm going to keep it as silver. That's right. And there's more gold pins right there to be had. And there's flat packs. There's gold corner BGAs. Yeah, the bottom of it doesn't have a lot in it, but hey, that glob right there on the top, that epoxy or whatever you guys want to call it, that sure does have the gold bond wires inside of it. So you don't get rid of them. They do add up. And all these connectors on the end, yeah, they're female connectors and they're going to have gold inside of it, just like the male counterparts. And hey, that's going to bring us over here. And there's lots of activities. There's still another big gold corner BGA right there. All right. And I know everybody's looking at that CPU. Yeah, I haven't had one that has actually been removable off of a laptop yet. I've taken apart modern day laptops, but not these vintage ones, because normally, you know, you really keep these. But I tell you what, this is going to have some promise. Is this going to have some gold pins? And it sure does. Look at that. That is a nice little CPU for a laptop. I tell you what, you don't come across them very often. And that is really nice, rich gold pins that is on there. And we're going to keep that. And the socket's going to have the same. And you're going to see more and more MLCCs as you look, and they're bigger and bigger. And yes, they have C on the board for a capacitor. And so their MLCCs, the potential for them to actually have some precious metals is better, especially especially in the age and the vintage. Was it worth taking this old relic apart? Well, I tell you what, absolutely. I had a blast doing so, and we got a lot of free gold along the way. So for all you new and returning viewers, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That's how you make this channel go around. And for all my wonderful subscribers, hey, you guys are making this crazy YouTube world just move. I can't believe it. We're cranking up on the stats, and it's all thanks to you guys. So for that, I really appreciate it, and I want to say thank you, absolutely. And for my wife, I love you. And for my kids, go wash your face.